Today what we're talking about is pain and discomfort, tools of growth. So pain and discomfort are tools of growth. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna get rolling with this. Got a bunch of Bible scripture also, and this more than likely on it's going to be added to the series on YouTube, the Journey Inwards series we've been doing. Um, but it is pain and discomfort are tools of growth, and what we what what you need to understand. A lot of people have a knee-jerk reaction to discomfort and pain when it uh, particularly what we're mainly focused on is when it comes from your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and everything like that. They have a reaction to, I guess, either give vent to it or just to deal with it in certain types of ways that are not righteous. And when I say they're not righteous, what I mean by that is they don't line up with what the word says. Okay. Um, so what we have to understand and what we're going to look at is literally how pain is a tool of growth and development. And you could see it in the practical. You can see that it's a tool of growth and development just uh, in the regular world, in the real world, where when it comes like weightlifting, is a good example. If you want to get strong, if you want to put on muscle, if you want to get in shape and not be a shape, but be in shape, what you have to do is go and lift weights. And if you want the muscle to grow, you got to push that muscle to exertion. And in order to do that, there's going to be pain. When a muscle gets to that point, it releases lactic acid, and that's that burn you feel in the muscle. And that is how you develop. Well, that's the same way you develop spiritually. You have to get in the habit of enduring pain and discomfort in the areas that you're weak in. So we're going to read on that a little bit. Pain and discomfort, they're the catalyst to growth. Comfort zone, staying in your comfort zone hinders growth and development. Staying in your comfort zone will have you arrested in your development. Just trying to stay in that comfortable area, okay? Um, let's see this. So with being in an uncomfortable situation, what being in a painful situation, and not just doing something to deal with it real fast, but literally being able to just sit there in that uncomfortable situation, what that does is it causes you to confront yourself. It causes you to face your weaknesses. Okay. Um, let's see. It causes you to confront limitations. What you find when you take a look at yourself, when you take a look at your thoughts, feelings, emotions, responses, behaviors, you name it. When you take a look at your excuse me, your situations going on in your life, whatever, all these are ways and a type of looking at yourself. Well, when you look at this stuff, you're looking at you're gonna inevitably you're gonna come across imperfections in yourself, limitations in yourself. You're gonna come across this stuff, and you're gonna yeah, you're gonna face it, and you're gonna bring these things to awareness. And this is you might hear people say taking a good, hard, honest look at yourself. That's what it is. That's what you're doing. Okay. Um, so we're gonna go through some. Let's see. And like I said, it motivates you to come out of your comfort zone. There are things you're gonna see, and you're gonna be like, man, I gotta get this. I got whatever it takes. I gotta get this in alignment with what the word says. Okay. Uh, let's see. So examples of discomfort and pain leading to growth are challenging, doing challenging workouts. Like we talked about earlier, are going to lead to increased strength and endurance. So that's an example in the physical. Example in the social would be having difficult conversations is going to strengthen relationships. That's how relationships are strengthened when difficult, vulnerable uh, conversations, because that's what makes the conversations difficult. Um, uh, the way to make is the fact of being vulnerable, making yourself vulnerable to engage in difficult conversation, everything like that. That is having conversations like that is gonna strengthen relationships. Okay, and of course, not all pain is beneficial because pain signals an issue. Okay, so again, but ensuring we respond with wisdom to the pain, to the discomfort, is the key. Okay, ensuring we respond to it according to what the word says. That's the important part. Okay, um, let's see, but and a lot of times I tell you, the pain that you might experience in your life, a lot of times it's like a check engine light in a car. It's a warning. Hey, there's something going on. Some people are experiencing pain and discomfort to the point where it's almost like their check engine light is blinking. Okay? But you have to look at it. You have to pay attention to it. Okay? I wrote, every time you have a strong thought, feeling, or emotion, see it as an opportunity to grow stronger in your walk with the Most High. Okay? That's how you have to look at it instead of seeing it as like as something like that. Like, I just want to get back to feeling good as soon as I can. When we condition ourselves to have the proper response to pain and discomfort, that's when we're positioned to grow and not to stay stagnant and to deceive ourselves that we're growing. You know what I'm saying? A good example to look at is what's that dude's name? I forget what that dude's name is, but he was in the military. Oh, David Goggins. He's a good example of you watch some videos on how he views pain and discomfort. You know what I'm saying? That's what you should watch. All right, so let's see. So, and this is like a key area of looking at like just knowing this is really going to significantly change. Knowing this and applying it is going to significantly change um, a lot of issues people deal with, okay, in a very significant way. Um, and the aversion to pain and the aversion to being uncomfortable is what causes a lot of people to you know to really to hear the word but really not apply it. And people can have such an aversion and just such a knee-jerk reaction to pain and discomfort and being angry and stuff like that. They can have like their response to that can be so deeply ingrained that it seems like a concrete steel reinforced wall that there is just no way to get through that. But truth be told, it's like a wall made of paper. That's how easy it is to get a wall made of toilet paper. A toilet paper wall. That's how easy it is to get through that if you just confront it and face it. And literally just hearing the truth on how to deal with pain and discomfort might be enough for a lot of people to push through that. Some people might need counsel to get through it. They might need deliverance to get through it. Might need prayer and fasting to confront it and deal with it. It could be spiritual. Okay. James chapter 1 verse 22, but be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in the glass. And I cut the rest of the verse off because we're going to read through the whole first chapter of James. We're going to read it, the whole thing in context. We're getting ready to read it all. But so for some reason I didn't put the last part in there. But at the core, at the nucleus of the knee-jerk reaction to resisting self-examination, at the nucleus of it is people having an aversion. They might have a fear, whatever it is, of discomfort and of pain. And the things that can be generating that discomfort and that pain could be fear, could be pride, it could be a myriad of things. But your faith, your will has to be stronger to just go through the pain. Like the verse we read in Sirach Ecclesiasticus, worthy men are shaped in the furnace of affliction. Um, and I'm paraphrasing it. I'm not quoting it exactly as it's written. You have to go read it for yourself. And it's the first probably 5 or 6 verses in Sirach chapter 2, okay, in Ecclesiasticus, in the Apocrypha. But it talks about how when difficulty, discomfort, challenging times come on you, take it patiently because gold is tried in the fire. This is how you grow. This is how you develop. And this is why you see a lot of people are just stuck in their ways because they don't get this simple biblical truth. It's a very simple biblical truth, but it's a very uncomfortable truth. And every fiber of your carnal nature fights this simple biblical truth. So it's very easy to build a wall up and to be arrested in your development in a lot of areas if you don't have this understanding. Okay? Let's see. Neither. So, so resisting pain and discomfort is you're going to be stagnant. And here's a little saying I got. Now this was in some self-help book, but it's a good saying. It's something good to keep in mind. What you resist persists. Okay? What you resist persists. Okay? So you need to keep that truth in mind. Okay? What you resist persists. Y'all, this is not a battle. This is not a war against brothers and sisters and men and people. Y'all, the war is in your mind. The battle, the combat, the warfare, the epicenter of the battlefield is in your mind. And you got to keep the main thing the main thing. And this is the main thing, y'all. I'm telling you. And like I said, we're going to read through the word, but I just want to drill this in. Okay. So we got, let me see what we have. The human tendency to avoid, now this is some scientific article or whatever on what we're talking about. Okay. Um, The human tendency to avoid self examination is a complex interplay, and they're talking about psychological stuff, emotional factors, blah, blah, blah. No, it's simple. It's a carnal nature versus the spirit. And it says that the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, so that they can't be. And if one of y'all could put that verse in there, but they're against each other. They're opposed to each other. Okay? So the your spiritual mind is fighting against the carnal. Your thoughts, feelings, emotions, impulses. Okay? Is fighting against what you know to be right in the word. So what you know to be right in the word and what the Holy Spirit is telling you, your carnal nature fights against that and Satan, because Satan's sitting in trying to feed your carnal nature, submitting thoughts. Sometimes it's coming from your carnal nature, whatever, and it's very slick and deceptive. That's the main thing we need to understand of how this interplay. And I can, because I do this work. I look at myself. I try to work through things in myself, and the things I've overcome it's very easy to discern in other people. One of the things I say is, "Hey, man, that excuse that you're telling me, my carnal nature tried to get me to buy into that excuse also, and now I hear you saying it, so I know where it's coming from. So sometimes I could discern the spirit people are coming in, because what they want to they want to avoid the discomfort and the pain. Okay. Let's see. It says so. So here, we're gonna go through some common reasons why people resist um, self-examination. Fear. And you know, the word says the Most High has not given us a spirit of fear, but of a sound mind. Okay? So, a spirit of fear. I told you that's at the uh, that that's at the nucleus of this thing is a spirit of fear operating. Okay? Uncertainty. Okay, you going in the unknown. That's why I called it. That's why I did a whole series, The Journey Inwards. Now check this out. Uh, I think it's a sister posted description here. I'm gonna read it. It's Galatians chapter 5, verse 17. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other so that you cannot do the things that you would. And like they say, you are a spirit having a physical experience. And this vehicle, this body, is the vehicle to have this experience in the physical or whatever. But this carnal body communicates with the spirit. Okay? And it's like some people liken it to like this body we have is an antenna that is, you know, primarily tied to uh it's like a system and it's tied to our spirit, okay? But it can pick up signals from itself, from the body, and from other spirits and influences. So this is why, you know, maybe that's not the best analogy, but this is why um, that Bible verse tells you to be vigilant, be watchful, for your adversary, Satan, walks about as a roaring lion seeking who he may devour. He's walking around seeking who he can devour, how he can get you. And he uses other people, okay? He will use other people, but he will also use you. Like his primary mode of operation is he will use you to get you. He will use your carnal nature against you. This is why you got to crucify your flesh and die daily. And when you do that, if you want to fight this battle, a lot of people will get caught up into this is uh, the typical person's how they so-called combat Satan is they don't look at themselves. Somehow they justify or write themselves off as being good to go. And they focus on other people that Satan is operating with externally. So Satan got you already because he's already, so he done took you out of your head and you're externally focused and you're not, it's a waste of it's a waste of time, energy, and effort to go to war with externally. It's a waste of time, energy, and effort to battle externally. It's a waste because the word tells you to work your salvation out with fear and trembling. It tells you to examine yourself. So naturally, Satan being deceptive is going to hit you that way. But as you wake up and you begin to work inwardly and pay attention and be vigilant and be watchful for the adversary inwardly and examine thyself, that's when your combat, your spiritual combat, that's when it becomes effective. Okay? That is when your spiritual combat becomes effective, is when you look inwards. But it's so uncomfortable and it can be so painful to do it, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem correct. No, it can't be that because it's uncomfortable. Everything in my physical carnal nature is telling me that that's wrong. Well, it's a deception. It's right. You do need to look inwards. You do need to find where you are in error. Put a 100 up in there. Put a type in "you got it" if you get it. Okay? Type in "you got it" if you get it. If that's making sense. Okay? Because this is the war. I'm trying to get people focused on, hey, the battlefield's here. Like this is where we're fighting at, but people are running over here, but we need to be fighting here if we want to effectively and efficiently push the enemy back. All right? Okay. People are coming in saying they got it. So that means they get it. That's good. Okay. So uncertainty, the fear of discovering unpleasant truth. What did it say again? The fear. You can't operate in that spirit of fear. A lot of y'all, it's a spirit of fear. You will need deliverance from it. You will need that spirit cast out. But guess what? After that spirit is cast out, you know what you got to do? You got to walk in boldness. You got to actually make a consistent, I call it a commitment to being, to consistently going within, confronting that fear, going through those areas where fear would pop up. You got to consistently commit to being diligent of constantly, you know what I'm saying? Getting through that and working through that, confronting those fears. Okay. Um, but listen, so because I went on pretty long, but I want to read it again. The human tendency to avoid self examination. Um, we're going to read here some of the common reasons why people might resist this essential practice. So we're going to read through it. So, fear of the unknown, fear of discovering unpleasant truths and in oneself, and it can be paralyzing. It can freeze you. And this is what you have to do. This is an important thing you need to think about. If you try to confront something in yourself, a lot of times you might try to bite off more than you can chew, and it will literally freeze you. And like, you'll be like, it's almost like that game Operation. If y'all ever seen that game Operation where you got to go in and take out like the little bone, the stuff out of the thing, and if you hit one of the sides, it go bang like that. It's like it electrocutes you or something. That's the equivalent. I'm trying to give a good analogy of looking within, of the journey inwards. Initially, you're gonna try to do it, and it's like like it literally the aversion to looking within and acknowledging the issues in yourself is gonna be so strong that it's gonna automatically push you out and shut down, and you literally are not going to be able to overcome that. It's going to do it. It's going to be that powerful. So what you need to do is just back off a little bit and go in ever so gently, even more gently. Just take an even gentler look at yourself, and if that's too much, even gentler, and just take a break. It's nothing that you have to force. It's not um it's not quantity, it's consistency. So the amount don't matter. It's just it compounds. You know what I'm saying? Over time it builds. So just ever so, hey, today if I get mad, maybe in a moment you won't even be able to look at yourself. Most people can't. When they feeling strong emotions in a moment, they can't even think to look at themselves because emotions just are, your flesh is so strong, it just overtakes you. So what you might want to do is just, hey, when you begin to feel yourself calming down, then begin to look at it. Write stuff down. Journaling is a powerful thing in this, okay? And examining yourself to see if you be in the faith. Vulnerability. Self examination can expose our weaknesses and insecurities, and makes us feel vulnerable. And there's a fear of being vulnerable when you've been hurt, when you've been traumatized in the past and stuff like that. There's a fear to that. Um, Denial, ignoring or dismissing negative feedback or personal shortcomings. Okay? So, denial. Projection. This is what I talked about. How attributing one's own flaws to others. This is another powerful thing that people do in order to unbeknownst to themselves, the stuff is operating below the surface, and you're projecting your flaw on external factors instead of taking the journey inwards and looking within. Okay, so projection, rationalization, justifying negative behaviors or beliefs. Oh, it's just blah blah blah. Oh, it just happens sometimes. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Blah blah. Rationalizing it. That's a huge one. And if you watch this, if you pay attention to your thought process inside, you'll see your mind doing this all on its own. You're not even have to put, only effort you have to put through to do this is to send the air through your voice box to say it outwardly. Okay? And again, if you've dealt with yourself, if you've done any work on yourself, you'll see this and you'll see it in other people too. But these things are operating in all of us, including me. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So rationalization, justifying negative behaviors or beliefs. Okay. Perfectionism, unrealistic expectations, striving for unattained perfection can lead to self-criticism and avoidance. Look, I'm gonna just be honest with you. I don't understand that because I didn't write that one in there, so I don't understand. I don't like that's. I'm gonna need to look into that one. Okay. Um, Fear of failure, the belief that an imperfection is unacceptable. Now I understand that. Like that is one of the big aversions that's pushed by a spirit of fear is like fear and discomfort, realizing that you're not who you believe yourself and who you've been telling yourself you are. That can, and the fear there is big because it's like, dang, I'm not like, it's like finding out you've been walking around with a booger on your nose. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's like. Like literally, that's the example. Like a big ass booger on your nose. That is the example I could give to that. To how the aversion you have to coming to that realization. You know what I'm saying? Um, let's see. Here's some other reasons. So, like I said, we're going through reasons, common reasons why people might resist um, examining themselves. Uh, Limited perspective, a narrow view of oneself can hinder the ability to identify areas for improvement. So there's a lot of people that are lack awareness. They're very, I don't know what you would call it, but they're very out of touch with what's going on within them. They almost like brute beasts just charging ahead and oblivious. You know what I'm saying? They lack that, I don't know, self sensitivity or self empathy to look within. Okay. Um, okay, let's see. So lack of self awareness, emotional blindness, difficulty recognizing and understanding one's own emotions. And this is why the best time to begin to look into this stuff is when you're emotional, when some type of situation is happening and got you turned up. Now everything's on display, okay, and it's very easy to look at yourself. Okay, it's very easy to analyze yourself because everything is shook up and on display, and all you got to do is sit there and just cultivate taking a pause and journal this stuff, write it down. Then once you got it written down, you could come back when you calm down and look in the word and see how what you got going on in your head, see how does that line up with the word. Okay. Okay, so we got that. So emotional blindness. Um, Comfort zone. We talked about that earlier. People may resist change and prefer to maintain familiar, even harmful patterns because it's in their comfort zone, because they don't want to feel that discomfort. But like the title of this show, pain and discomfort are tools of growth and development. Okay? Um Avoidance behavior. So engaging in distractions or escapism to avoid confronting oneself. So some people say, "Oh yeah, you get mad, you feeling some type of way, just go punch a punching bag." That I think is a type of avoidance behavior, or just kind of ignoring it and finding something to do to what? To take your mind off of it. Avoidance behavior. Okay. So in it says here, overcoming these tendencies requires courage and self-compassion. By embracing self-examination, we can gain valuable insights, foster personal growth, and build stronger relationships. Because you're not gonna build, you ain't gonna have, you have surface level, superficial relationships with everybody else until you build a real relationship with yourself. You're not gonna have any real relationships with people around you. You will be deceiving yourself. But it requires courage. And it goes back to that verse. I like that verse in Joshua 1, where the Most High he shows you in that chapter how he works. You know what I'm saying? His blessings aren't some genie wish thing or something like that. The Most High's blessings require your effort and your courage. If you think I'm lying, just read the book of Joshua. He tells them, I gave you all this land and all this, this, that, and the other. Only be strong, be of good courage. Go out there, you're gonna have to fight for it, but you're gonna win. But you gotta make sure that the word that I gave you, you gotta make sure you meditate on this thing day and night. Go read Joshua 1. You know what I'm saying? Read that and see if that be true. Um, so now what we're gonna do, uh, we're gonna read James. We're gonna read James. We're gonna start James chapter 14. Okay. Um, we're gonna read from James chapter 1 and James chapter 2. But we're gonna start James chapter 1 verse 14. It says, But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Okay? Then, when lust has conceived, it bringeth forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. The reason I read that is because I'm just showing you this stuff is from within. You see what I'm saying? That temptation comes from within. And we'll break it down more. James chapter 1, verse 19. Wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. So the Bible tells you to be angry, but sin not. Wrath is anger acted upon in an unrighteous way. So it goes back to what I'm saying, where when you get angry, you can't get carried away with it. You have to look at it. Okay? It says, wherefore lay apart all filthiness, superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Okay? So in you can't you're not going to be able to examine yourself if you're full of pride. It's going to block it. And you got to be meek. Okay, you got to be lowly. You got to realize that you ain't. I ain't gonna say the curse, but you know what I mean. But be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. Okay. Now we're going to go to James chapter 2, verse 14. What doeth it profit, my brethren, though a man say he have faith and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked or destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doeth it profit? Even so, faith, if it have not works, is dead, being alone. So they give an example of, hey, making sure people have what they need. And this, it goes into spiritual too. If people are in need of stuff spiritually and you have this understanding, give it to them. Give this word. Feed them with this word, something that can help them. Let me see. All right, keep reading. Yea, a man may say, thou hast faith. Okay? So you see this a lot in Christianity and stuff like that. People will say, that, they have faith and they're this, that, and the other and all that. But my big thing that I push is you'll know them by their fruit. And you can tell if people are doing this type of work, if they're looking inwards, if they're working on a journey inwards, because it speaks so loudly in how they carry themselves. It speaks so loud you can't even hear what they're saying. It's a in this world where you have a lot of people who are externally focused, who we read through all the examples of how people don't look within. They don't do the inner work. Um, when you get around somebody who has done the inner work, it's like the peace that they conduct and operate themselves in is to say it speaks so loud. It stands out. That's the best way to say it. It stands out very obvious when somebody is truly operating in perfect peace, where they're in alignment with their inner selves and everything like that, and they have brought their thoughts into captivity and dealt with any thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of Yah, and they're examining themselves and make sure it stands out. It's very evident. That's the word I was looking for. It's very evident when people are doing that work. And it being evident in someone is the light shining forth. You know what I'm saying? It's the word, it's the fruit, it's the works that people who truly have faith, it's the works that you can see in them. And in them having that, in them having a proper relationship with themselves and the Most High, and having died to self inside, now you're able to come together with other like-minded saints who've done that same work, and you can do big things. You know what I'm saying? On a carnal level, on a physical level, you can work together. You know what I'm saying? Without a bunch of fighting and disagreement and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody is working on themselves, and nobody's wasting a whole bunch of time, energy, and effort, fighting their brothers and all that stuff like that. So what I'm trying to show you is from, like, this is the very nucleus. I'm trying to show you in all these videos I've done on this topic, is show you that the place where the battle is happening at, the battlefield for your spiritual walk, where Satan fights us at, where we're at war at, is what we've been teaching in this whole show, looking within and dealing with these thoughts, feelings, emotions, mindsets, all this stuff that causes us to not do what the word says. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that rant made sense. Okay. Um, it says, "Thou believes." Listen to this. This really drives my point home. Thou believest that there is one God. Thou doest well. Doesn't everybody? Don't all the people? Anybody who comes into um, this walk, don't they believe? Everybody believes that. But look what it says here. The devils also believe. Look, and tremble. They tremble too. A lot of people believe, but they don't got the fear. It says, man, these wicked demons out here and stuff like that, they believe too, and they tremble, but they wicked. You see what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of people, like I've told you before, man, in my walk and coming into this truth, man, I've been a part of tons of different places. And I've seen people who've known the word. There's two people in particular. I've seen them, man. They knew the word better than anybody I have met to date. But didn't see the fruit. Didn't see the fruit. Okay? It says, but it says the evil spirits believe and they tremble. So what's the difference? What's the key difference? It says, let's read the next verse. It says, "But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead." You got to, this has to come out in your behavior and your conduct and how you do things. You see what I'm saying? It's heavy, man. It's tight. That's right. And we, like I said, I'm not going to go all through it again, but we just read through all this stuff. We read through all this of what needs to happen, how you bring it out. So, you know what I'm saying? It lines up. All right. It says, "But wilt thou know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham, our father, justified by works when he had offered Isaac, his son, upon the altar?" So, again, to do that, you know this dude's serious. And I'm telling you, to look within yourself is so painful and uncomfortable. You're gonna know you serious, and the Most High gonna know you serious, because it's just the most vulnerable, uncomfortable, realist look you could take. Okay, it's scrutinizing yourself. Seest thou how faith woodeth with his works, and by works was faith made perfect. Okay, so he's saying him carrying out showed that, hey, his faith was perfect. It wasn't just talk. And the scripture was fulfilled, which saith, Abraham believed God, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness, and he was called the friend of God. Ye see then how that works. You see then how by works a man justifieth, and not by faith only. Likewise also was not Rahab the harlot justified by works, when she had received the message and had sent them out another way. So what in it, because a lot of people will, okay, let's think of how I could say this. what people will do, it's easy in peacetime, or it's easy when it's a sunny day out, emotionally speaking, to to be faithful. You know what I'm saying? To show faith, and you know, on Shabbat, on Sabbath, when we're up there, we're all together. Everybody's praising and worshiping, and they got on their best. They got on their best clothes. They got on their best personality. Yeah, it's easy to be righteous and to make a good look then. But what about in the heat of the moment when you're under attack? You know what I'm saying? When there's an emotional or a thought, feeling, and or emotional storm going on, and we got this word in us, we know how to deal with it. We know what the response is. That's when we're gonna, you see what I'm saying? We're gonna see what fruit, what works come out then. And you know, it talks about the word says, gather yourselves together, O nation not desire. It says, forsake not assembly. It says, come out, be ye separate from them. The word tells us to come together. And at first glance, people could debate that and say, oh, well, when it says come together and gather yourselves together, what does that mean? What does that look like? This, that, and the other. But I hold to prove all things, hold fast to that which is true. And what I've seen is actually being around the saints, living around them, is truly iron sharpening iron. And you really do see your shortcomings. Like when you're around the saints, I'm talking about living around. I'm not talking about doing social gatherings each each weekend. I'm talking about living around the saints. You it you are in a environment highly conducive to self-examination. You're in a very potent environment for self-examination, okay, and really grow and move forward with yourself, and to really understand what it means to be meek. That's no light word. Being meek, being humble, that's how Moses was. Like, that ain't a light thing. It's like you feel like you're gonna throw up when you see some of the stuff operating in yourself. So, but in an environment like that, yeah, you can leave that off if you want. Cause that boy, I was thankful you turned. We had to. No, I rather enjoy smelling because I was about to melt over here. So, but yeah, it's that's what it is, y'all. That's what it's about. That's where the rubber meets the road. And look, we have to die daily. It's an ongoing fight. We gotta fight the good fight till till the Most High brings us, to be with Jesus. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we got to fight. Y'all understand what I'm saying here? The worst thing you can do is let yourself get deceived into thinking, oh, I've arrived. I'm good. I'm good. Look, I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Look, there's stuff I've seen in myself where I was like, okay, because before I came into all this truth, I was like, what's the point of life? Like, if I live to a ripe old age, what's the point? But then when you really begin to look within, you're like, you know what? I hope I got enough time to deal with all this stuff. Like, there's so much stuff to be worked on within. I don't see how I could waste time worrying about other people after the first Or maybe even a second admonition. I ain't got time, y'all. It's so much work to be done. If that makes sense, put a 100 in there if y'all get where I'm coming from, man. It just ain't time out here to be playing. And I'm not. I've recently, man, we our assembly here, we are fully in a busy season. We got jobs going on with the business, huge jobs we gotta do. So we're working that. We recently moved a bunch of saints moved into another house because we a bunch of saints moved in together, so they had to move in another house to accommodate that. So we did that. Like we've been like swamped busy, and then on top of that, I've been wanting to in this dead season just really put forth some spiritual content, out here on my channel. And it's been edifying. I've been getting a lot of communication with people saying they really getting, you know, being helped by what they're hearing. So that's a blessing. That encourages me. But I'm just trying to really stay consistent with what I'm putting out here. But yeah, but that's where we're at, man, is busy, but on top of that, I'm just being very regimented with my schedule and with not getting distracted, with because there's a lot of distractions with the phone and all that. Like what I do now is I shut my phone off when I'm working and I'll check in every 1 or 2 hours and see if anybody's called or anything like that. That way, I have longer stretches of time where I'm not getting interrupted. And I can do what I need to do and be more effective. I'm gonna be coming out with. It'll probably just be a show. It might be a series on organization, staying organized, how to be productive. I'll be Okay, hold on one sec. All right. Okay, hold on. Having a problem here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna be coming out. I'll be coming out with that soon. But yeah, I just want to come on there, drop that. I'm gonna add this. This is probably gonna be maybe 11, part 11 on the Journey Inward series. So I'll add it on there. And like I said, we are transitioning into the series that takes place that we've already started is practical application of the word. How to what it the practical application of it. So and this is what to walk the practical side of the word and not this hyper spirituality talk, and you don't see the practical application of the word in your relationships, in your social life, in your economic life, in your work life, in just your daily life, in how you plan out what goals you're going to achieve career wise. It might be whatever. You don't a lot of people don't see the practical application of that and how they deal with people and situations and all that. But that's what this series is going to be about. But in order to apply the word in your life in a practical way, you have to apply it in, spiritually first, to your inner man. So anyway, with that said, I appreciate all y'all tuning in. I'm Michael Israel. You're watching Spiritual Combat, and shalom, shalom.